apologize to me.
Okay, we're live, brother. Look, I'm sorry about that. I don't know if... Yeah. Look, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, living on the arse end of the world, we do have internet issues. So it hasn't happened for a while, but I lost the connection there. It's my deepest apologies for my co-hosts and people watching. Sorry. Hopefully we'll be okay. Let's cross fingers.
All right, man.
Sorry.
Glad you're back.
All good.
Well, hopefully some people will jump in on us.
Oh, it's frustrating. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Johnny Bean's on. Johnny Bean.
Yeah, hey, Johnny. Yep. Sorry. Anyway, do you guys want to carry on where you're up to?
Yeah, you're very loud there, Andrew.
Am I?
Just turn it down a bit or something. You know, your mic level.
How about that? Is that okay?
Hear about it.
I think that's better.
Hear about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think with Hear About It Later, I gave it a 10 out of 10. And Kurt, you gave it 10, didn't you?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Okay, so so Dirty Movies, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Sinner's Swing, I've given it a 7 out of 10. And Hear About It Later, is that what you're talking about now?
It is.
Okay. Have you guys finished talking about it and ranked it yet?
We have. We're going to give people a bit of a chance to jump on, and we'll just have a bit of a chat. We were actually having a bit of a laugh, saying that you'd fallen off the face of the earth, and then all of a sudden you were at Mars, and then all of a sudden we're telling everyone that you'd gone to find the one ring to rule them all there in Middle Earth.
If only it was that simple. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can now.
That's
yes.
good. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. I've got no control over the internet connection, guys. Sorry. So if you guys are up to Hear About It Later, I've given that a 10 out of 10, and it's one of my favourite songs on the album.
Yeah. I agree with you, Andrew. You can probably go back and watch what Kurt and I continued on later, but yeah, we
Cool.
both went through those tracks. But I absolutely love it. The more the one thing I mentioned to Kurt about this song was the more I listened to it, the more I fell in love with it. Yeah, because initially it was probably more of an 8 out of 10 for me, but the more I listened to that album, it became like a 10 for me. All right, so we're up to. Should we push on, guys, or are we going to wait for more people in the chat? What are we going to do?
Well, you've got rehearsal, so we should just probably carry on, brother.
It's okay. All right. Well, everyone can jump on later, and we want to see what you guys are ranking these songs as well. So it's been great because Kurt and I were just saying in the chat before, Andrew, we're getting quite a bit of interaction there with the people giving us their opinions and
awesome.
And also their rankings and stuff like that, which is really cool. Plus, they were making a bit of fun about. Yeah, they're making a bit of fun about you dropping off too, Andrew. So,
if you want, guys, I was going to read a quick excerpt out of the Ted Templeton book about Unchained before we get going on Unchained. You want me to do that?
Just hold on. Is this because we need to
Tune into the 5150 show if you want to be schooled by Reverend Kurt to learn and be blessed by all the translations and facts about Van Halen.
Yes, it is.
Reverend Kurt.
The Spirit's with you.
May the time be with you, son.
Home be with you. All right, so I thought it would be a good time to read a little excerpt out of the Ted Templeton Platinum Producer's Life and Music. Brad, I know you're just graduating to the the Running with the Devil book. So the Ted Templeton book should be the next one you get because that is just as good. So I'm going to just go at it with how prolific and special the songwriting partnership was between Dave and Ed. Eddie came up with this incredible riff, and Dave paired it with this fantastic lyrics. The thing is, there are lots of heavy metal bands that put monster riffs together with memorable lyrics, but none of them could match the Van Halen songs' craft and humor. The breakdown of Unchained underscores what separates Van Halen from the competitors. On the day we recorded the song, I had an important meeting to go to, and I showed up to the studio in a three-piece suit. I was wearing a nice suit, and we did some recording, then we took a break. In the control room, Dave and I tossed some ideas around for the post-solo breakdown. During that session, Dave started busting my balls about how sharp I looked in my suit. That's when I suggested he sings a line about my suit. That comes from Shopping from the Clothes, a 1960s R&B single by the Coasters. I love the Coasters. Every single song of theirs is very visual. Thanks to that song written by Jerry Lieben and Mike Stauber. Now, when we cut to the vocals for the breakdown, Dave blew his line. He had a back and forth through the talkback that we had prepared in the line, and then Alex suggested, hey, why don't we exchange between Dave and me in the song? After we had recorded it, we were all busting up laughing. And when we heard the playback, those tongue-in-cheek lyrics paired with those monolithical riffs makes that Unchained a perfect exchange of Van Halen being a heavy metal band and a sense of humor. So a lot of people talked about how they caught that moment in the studio where really it was staged, which I thought's really funny. And there's actually some recorded mess ups where 2 or 3 times where Dave's doing the, come on, man, give me a break. Hey, that studio's you. He screws it up. And they actually have it on tape where Dave messed up 2 or 3 times. And Brad, as you know, being a musician, the talkback only goes through the headphones. So for the mic to pick up the talkback, I mean, that thing would have to be past 12. So they actually mic'd the talkback to catch it on the recording. So the whole thing was staged, but it fits in perfect. And it goes with the band. It goes with the song. I think it was genius.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love that bit. I actually love that bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, Reverend Kurt, thanks for that information. I actually had a bit of a chuckle listening to that. It's good. The Unchained, I'm going to dive into it. It's a tough as nails intro. Ed's use of the flange pedal on this is fantastic, the way he kicks it on and off. Bass and drums, it actually lifts the riff even to a greater height. Really, you know, I've heard a lot of people quote this. It is one of the greatest drop D riffs I've ever heard. For me, it's so catchy chorus. Vocals are great. I love the pre-chorus bit. Ed's timing on the guitar is very unique. He's just got some phenomenal, we're back, Fruitcake Tony. Yeah, he just had some phenomenal timing. So the solo is fantastic in Unchained. The breakdown's really cool. The Come On Dave, Give Me a Break section. It's a power pack song. I gave it 10 out of 10 or 20 out of 10 or whatever. Yeah, it's a big song. It's probably the most recognized song off the record. And I have to say, if you're going to play one song of Van Halen to someone of the Roth era for them to get into the band, it'd be this one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right, I'm just going to name a few. Tip of the iceberg. This isn't even close, but this is just going off what I've read over the last 20 years. Alice in Chains, Zakk Wylde, Soundgarden, Slayer, Guns N' Roses, all of them have referenced Unchained as either a song that sprung them into guitar, or something that inspired them to write a riff. I think this is one of Van Halen's best songs as well. Andrew's laughing at me. Do you think I'm crazy?
I think he's going to end up being timed out soon here. I can sense it.
No, I'm laughing at Johnny Ben's
that's
comment.
funny.
He'd rather play Happy Trails first to someone who hadn't heard Van Halen. Sorry, but I am
that's
concentrating on what you are saying.
That's funny. This song to me is Van Halen's best song with David Lee Roth. As you guys know, I'm a huge, I lean heavy to Sammy Hagar, but I love all three Van Halens. But I would say this is David Lee Roth's best song they've done with Van Halen. It's Van Halen in a box, I would call it. Amazing intro. The riff is awesome. The harmonies on the background. Heart-stopping solo. This is another foot tapper. Brad and I were talking about earlier, seeing Van Halen 3. When Van Halen came out and played Unchained, it was like the world was ending. Like everyone in the stadium was going ballistic because they hadn't heard this song live in 14 years. And it's one of those national anthems to Van Halen fans. So that's how impactful it is. It was cool hearing Gary Cherone sing it because live, he did a hell of a job. Very impressed with.
We heard him sing that.
Yeah, amazing. He represented very well. This is one of my top 5, top 10 songs. Let's see. MXR 117 Flanger. As soon as Eddie announced in one of the guitar magazines that he used this pedal in this song, apparently their sales went through the roof. I read in an article. So in 1981, it was just like they couldn't keep up with the demand of building that pedal. Of course, now MXR has been bought out by Dunlop. But crazy little story about Ted Templeton in the suit. I give it a 10 out of 10.
It's over to you, Andrew. Have we lost him again?
No, I was just having you on.
He's deep in thought.
No.
He's getting ready for his time out, I think.
Listen. Look, it's certainly a heavy metal song. If you ever wanted to make a connection between heavy metal and Van Halen, that was always a discussion that people used to have, for a long time. What classification was Van Halen? It's a heavy song. Open. What is it? D tuning. Drop D. I'm really interested that you guys have rated it so highly. Look, it's a great song. Don't get me wrong, but I'm intrigued and amazed that you guys have rated it so highly. I'd be interested to see what the other cats in the chat think about it. I've given it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a solid chugging song. I don't think it's Eddie's best guitar work. The great thing about the song certainly is Roth's vocals. He's good when he's singing down a couple of notes, or a couple of tones or whatever you call it. Great live. It's a great live song. And we were lucky enough to see Gary sing this song on that 98 tour. And I have to tell you, when Eddie played the song, whether or not it was the PA system, but they certainly turned it up a notch. It was one of the loudest songs in the set here in Auckland. 9 out of 10. Never a skip. Never a skip.
He had what, 3 cabinets on stage in that tour?
Yeah. Yeah, big shout outs to the sound guys for that tour, because the sound was phenomenal when I saw them in Sydney as well. But yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, no, I agree with you guys on that song, and I mean 9 out of 10 is a fair score too, Andrew. But I think I just, I'm not rating it based on just guitar playing. I just think it's a great song, it's catchy, for all the reasons I explained. So I really enjoyed it. But so what are we up to? I've kind of lost track because we've been jolted around. Push comes to shove.
Push comes to shove.
Yes.
Yeah, Brad, we've been pushed and shoved around, dropped and brought back on, and muted, but we're here.
We're feeling slightly violated too, Andrew. We've just been, pushed and shoved around. Push comes to shove. Yeah, Andrew had one put out the door there for a bit. Anyway. So push comes to shove. I'll get into it. Sleazy intro, very cool bass, upbeat feel, more clean flange effect on the pre-choruses. I love that sound. It's fantastic. I pick up Steve Vai vibes. Obviously, Steve Vai was very influenced by this. I mean, I can hear it in a lot of Steve's songs with the flange and the cleaner tone and everything, like what Ed's actually playing. The chorus is swaggering along. The solo is amazing, very structured around the chords. It may be one of Ed's most planned solos, I reckon. It's arguably one of his best solos he's ever done. The rhythm under the solo is amazing too. If you really have a good listen to the rhythm under it, it's amazing. He's really put a lot of effort, and this may have been one of the songs he put a lot of time and energy into, I personally think, to perfect what he was trying to do during that solo period, especially the solo of the song I'm talking about. I gave it 10 out of 10. I love the song. Originally, when I first ranked this, I gave it an 8 out of 10. But I went back and I rejudged all my scores over and over and over again for this record, and I gave it 10 based on it's one of those songs I just want to listen to more and more and more. It's fantastic.
That's cool. All right, push comes to shove. This was Dave expressing his love for reggae, right? And which was very popular back that time in the 80s, the reggae rave, I guess they want to call it. Brad, you're right. He tried 20 times to get this solo correct, and Ted didn't like any of them. So what did he do? He came back that night with Don Landy, and they put it down on tape, and the next day they played it for Ted, and he loved it, and that's the one that's on the album. So you're right. He did work really hard on perfecting this song. Let's see. To me, it kind of has that 70s funk groove to it, with classic Dave antics, with his lyrics with Eddie's volume swells, his plucking in the rhythm section, where he fills in is just classical Eddie. I put in here, Eddie quoted when he was younger, he had zero money for effects pedals. So what did he do? He figured out a way to make the best sounds he could out of his hands. And it's obviously shows in his playing with his fingers, his bends, his pinch harmonics, his trills, his volume swells. So you think about all those tricks of the trade that he's putting on tape, all kind of stems back from back in the early 70s, where he was trying to get a certain sound in his head on guitar, and he didn't have all the delay pedals, the flangers, the phasers, the wah-wah pedal, the volume pedal. He did it all with his hands, which makes the why he's the king of the electric guitar. He figured it out. And one of the things I always read about Eddie is he had a hard time expressing what he heard in his head and putting it, into either someone else's ear or on tape. And he probably struggled a lot with wanting to get the sound out of the guitar. That's why he was always tinkering with it. That's why he was always practicing, playing, messing with it, recording. I mean, the guy always had a tape recorder with him in the early days. And then, he put a little mini recording studio in his bathroom. Like, that's how obsessed he was with getting the sound he wanted. So just a little plug for the man there. But I give it a 7 out of 10. Brad gave it a 6 out of 10 and then went back and changed it to a 7 earlier today. You and I are like in stride.
Yeah. Andrew.
Yeah, I think Alan's been reading some of my notes. I've got obviously heavily influenced by Holdsworth. The great thing about the song for me is the bass line. I just love the bass line that's throughout the song. I'm just a sucker for a good bass. I love it. Guys, I've given it a 8 out of 10, and it was a difficult song for me to rank because I want to give it more, but I just think, the antics that are associated with the song probably puts it back a notch, 8 out of 10, and I'm happy with that, but it's never a skip.
That's good. We're in the ballpark. I mean, I fell in love with the song more and more as I was going through listening to it, so I just fell in love with it more and more and more, and that's why I gave it a 10. But we're up to, so this is Love.
Yeah.
All right, bass and drum intro is happening. Great guitar tone on this record. Obviously the whole record, but this song in particular. Cool chorus, very catchy. Vocals on the chorus are awesome. The solo is like intensely good, in my opinion. And it's part of the reason why I've given the song the ranking I have. And the David Lee Roth vocals are on fire. All the ahs that he does that I can't even get my voice to even replicate. He's on fire in this song. I don't know what guitar. Maybe Kurt, you might be able to give us a heads up what guitar he's using on this, because it doesn't sound like it's a Frankie or anything like that. It sounds something different to me, especially the solo I'm talking about. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Never a skip.
You look surprised, Mr. Andrew. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm about ready to blow your socks off. Okay, this is my second favorite song on the album. I give it a 10
right.
out of 10.
Yeah. Oh, good boy. Awesome.
10 out of 10. And Brad, this is a compilation of 4 different solos from the past that he integrated into this solo. So if you listen to the solo, you can tell that it's a bunch of solos mashed up together. They kind of they go in sections, like I kind of call it going upstairs, right? Second favorite song on the album. To me, this just sounds like classic Van Halen. It really falls in line with Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, and Women and Children First. So I'm thinking this might have been a carryover from one of the recordings of that album. And sure enough, he did use one of his 59 Les Pauls on recording this song. He probably used his Frankie on the solo, but there you go. 59 Les Paul right on the left earlobe of Andrew, right above his cranium. I can see one.
Yeah, it's not a real one, though. It's a made in Japan one.
Hey, that's all right. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just looking. Johnny Beans mentioned that had electric piano on it. I'm going to have to go back and listen to those Guitar Hero isolated tracks and have a listen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Great harmonics on this song, the hook, like Brad, you talked about it. It really does hook you in. For me, you can like hum this song in your head all day long. Alex, he's got that. I don't know much about drums, but he's got that rock and shuffle. He just kicks butt on this song. The outro with Dave and Eddie is just classic. Just the two of them, like it could go on forever, but then all of a sudden it stops. Love this song. 10 out of 10. Never skip. So this is love. I love it.
Yeah, me too. I love it too. I've given it a 10 out of 10. It's certainly, a song that I would play to a person that hadn't heard Van Halen, Brad, over and above Unchained. And I think that I would probably do a better job for that Van Halen Virgin than Unchained. But yeah, look, this is one of the great things about, us doing these shows, that, even the co-hosts have huge differences and opinions and rankings on the songs. I love it. I think that snare drum that Alex is using to keep time is fantastic. One of the greatest snare drum exponents ever in heavy rock. It's wonderful. And I've given Hear About It Later a 10 out of 10. So this is my second 10 out of 10 song on the album. And I don't think I would be spoiling anything with you guys by saying that the next two songs aren't 10 out of 10s for me. But Hear About It Later and So This Is Love are definitely highlights on the album. Guys, one of the reasons why I love So This Is Love is because I think this is what Van Halen are with David Lee Roth. They want to be that kind of pop band, they like that those beautiful, beautiful melodies. And some of the live versions that we've heard have been pretty good too. I think they play this really well live too, so never a skip.
Yeah. It's great that everyone, or that we're all acknowledging Alex as well, because obviously the next track's a bit of a highlight on Alex, but throughout the record, and he had a natural swing to his playing. Obviously, his influences definitely come through, but I have to give it to him. He had his own unique sound and playing style. He did have a unique style that a lot of drummers have trouble replicating. So he did have something quite unique. And, I'd love to hear, obviously moving forward, I hope we get to hear Alex playing again at some point in whatever form it is, because he is an amazing drummer. That being said, that takes us to the next song, Sunday Afternoon in the Park, which I was really confused with this track. I like it. It sounds like a soundtrack, like scary dream sequence for me. It's fitting on the album where it sits. It's very dark. It's got that spooky vibe to it. It's very cool. Highlights obviously his drumming. I believe there was a synth or something to do with synth hooked up to his kick drum, and the way that they did it. So there, and it was a Moog or something, was it? Oh, there you go.
Right there. Electro-harmonic. Where did I have my notes? Electro-harmonic Moog synthesizer.
We just lost your picture.
So
yeah.
Cheap little, like, Radio Shack type synthesizer that he used on this song.
Hey, Warren.
Probably cost $150 back then.
Yeah, awesome.
Hey, Luca.
Yeah, so look, for me, listening, like we always talk about, we're listening to these albums as an entirety, not just as a single song, and trying to, it's the theme of the record, and I want to keep that context in theme with my ranking. So I've done that, and I gave it a 7 out of 10. because I think it fits perfectly where it is on the record, and it segues into the next song, the way that sound is and everything as well, which is really cool. So, 7 out of 10 for me, and very innovative for the time too. Really, when you think about it, 1981. So they were stepping outside of the normal boundaries of just miking up a drum kit and playing. And as we know, Alex just phenomenal drummer, and the more, as each record progressed, I think he became an amazing part of the songwriting thing. I mean, we've discussed it in the Carnal Knowledge record and things like that. He actually was a big part of their songwriting. We acknowledged that in previous episodes. So I'll hand it over to Kurt. Kurt's probably got some dirt on the. We should have a segment called Kurt's Dirt.
Dirty Curdy, we'll call it.
Yeah, that's it. Not reference.
I don't have a bunch of dirt.
That's his alter ego. Dirty Kurt.
Talk to my wife. This song, to me, it always goes back to Live Right Here, Right Now with Michael Anthony and his bass solo. You guys remember where he integrated this song into his bass solo?
Yes.
Where he's pounding on the bass. Mm-hmm. So really cool. Of course, this came before, but Ed used that cheap synthesizer. I think he hooked it up to a flanger and got that sound. Let's see. Not my favorite song on the album. Sometimes it could be a skip, but this is another one of those Van Halen songs where it parlays into the next song, where you can almost consider it the intro to the next song. So to me, I always pair Sunday Afternoon in the Park with One Foot Out the Door, especially considering One Foot Out the Door is short. So they kind of go one and the same with me, but I give it a 6 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't get an opportunity because we were offline. Well, I was offline when you guys were doing part one to give a disclaimer, I suppose, on this album. I appreciate the fact the album has achieved cult status amongst the albums for Van Halen fans, and for a lot of reasons, and deservedly so. But again, we wouldn't be doing our show any justice if we weren't going to be sincere and honest in our rankings, and give it to you as we see it and hear it in the context of the album. And this is one thing that I want to remind myself of, and also everyone else. We're not ranking Van Halen albums here with other albums. We're just ranking the tracks on this specific album. We're not comparing it to other albums, even though I did say that I previously listened to Dive It Down, and then listening to this album was like, night and day. Look, I've given this song 8 out of 10. I didn't get it. I still don't get it. I just see this probably as a stepping stone for Eddie. And we can see what he does with other albums, from this song. He gets to a period when he's doing some albums with Sammy Hagar, and this is one of the foundations, I think, that indicates, or you can use as a pinpoint to say from here to there. I don't skip it, but it's 8 out of 10 for me. So I think I've given it the highest score with my co-hosts, and I was a little bit concerned because I thought maybe I'd get into trouble with that.
No, I think we're on the same page there. So, Kurt, cool. What did you give Sunday Afternoon in the Park? What did you give it? 6?
Yeah.
Okay, 6, 7, and 8. So we're,
okay,
in the ballpark.
6,
it's not like
8. Who do we appreciate?
So, I'm just looking at some of the comments here, but I 1 foot out the door. I'm going to quote Alan Garber here. 1 foot out the door is just plain evil and murderous guitar. It's a weird song for me. It took me a fair few listens to it over and over and over again to get my ranking for this song. I found it hard to capture the riff, but it's got the most amazing guitar solo in it, and it's a crazy song. I found it very strange, but it's a great song at the same time. I just found it really hard to follow that riff. There's obviously no guitar riff. It doesn't seem like there's a guitar riff there. I don't know if you guys picked up on that or not, but I love it. And the context of the album, I gave it 8 out of 10, and the solo is fantastic. It's just amazing. So if anyone's sort of not really focused on the solo, go back and have a good listen to the solo. It's just phenomenal. Good.
Well, you guys hear that?
Yep.
All right, good. Ted Templeton said in his book, Brown, you eventually get it and read it. Dave was spinning his wheels on what to do with this song. And a lot of people out there say they used this song because it was the last song on the album, and it was talking about 1 foot out the door of the studio. But that's not true. Actually, Ted talks about back in 1977 when he was producing the Greg Allman Band that they had problems with Lenny coming to the studio. And they would always call him, and he would be 2 or 3 hours late to the studio. And they would call him, talk to Cher, who was his girlfriend back then. And they'd be like, hey, when's he coming to the studio? We're supposed to be here at noon. And his saying was, I got 1 foot out the door. And sure enough, he would show up like 2 hours later. So that was his excuse of saying, hey, I'm, buying time. I got 1 foot out the door. So Ted spun the idea to Dave, and Dave said, I like it. And that's where he came up with the lyrics, because he had hit a roadblock. So to me, I think this song was too short. I love the fast pace. It has kind of a dirty riff, which is totally perfect and in line with the album and kind of the theme they were going with. Ed was quoted to say that he became very frustrated when he was trying to articulate his music to what he was trying to put on tape with Ted, like we were talking about later, and that he ended up doing this the solo on this song in one take because he was having trouble with Ted, and this was another one that they did with Don Landy, After Hours. Let's see. Heavy chorus on this song. I think, to me, the outro to this is kind of where Van Halen's sound was going in the future at Diver Down and 1984, with the heavier chorus, which Ted didn't really want. And it's like Eddie put the kind of FU stamp on it and said, this is the sound I want. And him and Don really put it on thick on this track. And the whole thing was recorded live, apparently, the rhythm track, and he did it in one take is what I have here. But it is a 8 out of 10. And for me, it's too short of a song. It could have went longer.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are my notes too. I've given it an 8 out of 10. Too short. It sums up the album though, doesn't it? Succinctly. It's a good bookend for the album. And I just don't know why. They just didn't stretch it out. I've got no idea why they didn't. short album. It's a short album, one of the shortest, isn't it? I think you mentioned that in your intro, Brad.
Yeah, and I was going to touch on this later, and you guys already touched on it, is the entire album could have been longer, in my opinion, if they stretched some of these songs out a bit, because some of them do end abruptly a bit short of, I don't know, maybe they could have added a little bit more to the songs, but they're obviously focused on getting a song complete and as a package, as opposed to being self-indulgent. Maybe, I don't know what their motive there was, but
Brad, I had read some stuff, and I kind of grew up on the tail end of vinyl, going into cassette and CD. But I had heard that there was a sweet spot when there was putting the on record, to where if you went longer, it compressed the sound. And I think Van Halen really stuck to that. They didn't want to compress their sound. In the first 6 albums, they really kept that 30-plus minute time frame. Andrew, not to call you out, you're a little bit older than us, but is that true that the longer the albums went, the less the quality would be on the pressing, right?
Probably. I suppose I'm just a victim now of Spotify and CDs. When you put that album on, when you're driving, it ends quickly, doesn't it, compared to some of the other albums. If you're listening to any of the albums with Hagar, it's just it's almost like it's just a side one.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was kind of alluding to. Like some of the songs, like One Foot Out the Door, could have been longer. I personally think, what was the other one I thought of? Unchained. But Unchained is perfect in a sense, where it's 3.5 minutes and it hits all the marks too. So, but yeah, we're pretty close to sharp.
They recorded the album in 12 days, and they didn't rehearse in Dave's dad's studio. They went right in and started recording. But it's like it was either Eddie, Alex, or Noel Monk had this mantra of we got to get in and out of the studio. If they would have spent a month with Boston, they probably would have puked. Those guys took 7 years to record an album, and they were worried about doing it in 7 days. It was just so different back then.
Yeah, and I think Noel had a role to play in that too, because he was careful. He understood the dynamics of the personalities as well too. So getting them in the studio and out on tour, where they could have space on tour, was a manageable band for him, as opposed to a band that was contained.
Right, and one thing, Brad, you'll read in this Noel Monk book is he had a 1% involvement during the studio recordings. He was not involved when it came to recording an album. He was involved with the band's management and business, and then heavily involved in the tour. But there's not a lot of info in that book about studio stuff. That's why it was really cool that Greg Renoff did the Ted Templeton book. They go one and the same. They're both a demand read, but Noel Monk, I want to say he said there was only a handful of times where he even went to the studio when they were recording an album, and he was their manager.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, huh?
That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what is everyone's given a fair warning as a ranking in the chat, as an album? The Roth era albums, where would you place it, guys? Would you place it as one of the great ones, or because I believe once they got to Women and Children First, they pretty much from their first album to Women and Children First, they pretty much all those songs they'd already had in the bag, ready to start recording or worked on in the past, or they pretty much had got to that point, hadn't they? Is that what I'm sort of alluding? Is that what you guys believe, that they actually had pretty much the first 2-3 albums already material before they even started recording is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
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 Johnny,
Yep.
let's get Noel Monk on a show. If
Yeah.
he's messaging you, responding to pictures, let's get him on a show, man. That would be awesome.
Yeah. He sends pictures of girls on his Facebook Messenger to you. That's what Noel does. It's a true story.
Really? I'm not on
Yeah.
Facebook, so
Yeah.
Don't go on it.
Robot Master Switch sends me pictures of girls too. I've blocked him since.
Send them all my way. Send them all my way.
Brad and Kurt,
But-
it's my second.
No.
It's my second favorite album with David Lee Roth. It's my second favorite, and I think it deserves its place in rock and roll history for the guitar tone and also the guitar solos. And I think the reason why it's magical, and Alan's and Kurt have given us all that information on the show, it's the introduction of new technology that Eddie was experimenting with. But also, Kurt, I think the fact that you mentioned too that he had no effects when he first started playing gave him an opportunity as a guitar player to develop tones and effects with his fingers. Isn't that amazing? Because most guitar players are just trying to work out or remember their scales or chords or whatever. But this guy's got all that down, and he can do swells, volume swells, and he can play softly because he knows exactly what he's playing. Whereas, a guy like me, I couldn't do all that because I got to make sure I play that scale.
Yeah, and it's like, you need a stomp box to change your tone? No, I'll just roll the volume down 2 clicks.
Yeah.
And then I'll pluck. I mean, and it's amazing. Amazing. You watch him live. If anyone's seen him live up close, down on the left side of the stage, you cannot keep your eyes off him because everything he's doing is just mesmerizing. It's insane. But yeah, and Andrew, I don't want to indulge where this falls on my 7 David Lee Roth, because I don't want to be timed out. But maybe we'll save that for a different show.
No, you can tell us. We're not going to time you out this late in the piece.
It's number 5. For me.
Okay.
Yeah. No argument from me.
And look at the chat.
Van Halen's 1, Van Halen 2, and 84 are pretty high up there for me.
Fruitcake Tony said it's second behind 84 for him. And Johnny Bean said it's 20 out of 10, so he gave it a Brad score.
Yeah, Van Halen 1 though is hard to beat.
Maybe
That's
when
in
I
my
go
DNA.
back, it's funny because we've been doing these shows for the fortnight that we're ranking these tracks and doing it. Anytime I listen to Van Halen, it's just the album we're ranking. I don't listen to anything else for that fortnight. So
Me too.
when I get back to those, the first 3 records, when we get to Women and Children first and then the second and then the first one, obviously maybe my opinions will change, but I do believe, for me, Fair Warning, it's so far the more I listen to Fair Warning, the more I love it. It's got a lot to do with the guitar tone he's playing, the songs.
Yep.
I kind of wish the album was double the length, to be honest with you.
Johnny Bean said he was 9 rows back on Eddie's side in 2015 tour, and he couldn't believe what he was watching. Johnny, I was too on that same tour in Tacoma, and it was incredible, especially too where they pulled some of the songs they played on that tour that they hadn't played in a long time. It was mesmerizing.
Wow.
And then Luca, he says I need to sleep with a firearm underneath my pillow tonight. Don't you worry, buddy. I got a firearm in every bedroom.
Well, that's fair warning, guys. I think we've done pretty well. That's a short album, only 9 songs, and yeah, fair warning. Cracker of an album.
Yeah.
Good to hear opinions, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to open up the show, Andrew, and go through the record.
Yeah, and apologies for the technical issues, guys. Obviously, it's something that we always try to avoid, but we'll just roll with the punches and just keep going, and just be patient and bear with us, because sometimes these things do happen. I appreciate the fact that you guys have given us the time to. Oh, yep, cool.
Sorry, I know it's 9:15 where I live, but what happened to Don Landy? I mean, we probably are all wondering that, but man, if we could get him to do an interview, do a book, or do a show, I don't know. He was in the thick of the whole thing. Probably more than Ted Templeton was from the beginning to OU 812. And then, I don't know what happened there when Van Halen parted ways with him. But, man, if that guy could talk, we would probably all be wide-eyed and dumbstruck by some of the stories and just technical data that he could tell us. I don't know if I'm the only one in here, or some of the people in the chat are mesmerized by Don Landy. I mean, if you Google his name, there's like 3 pictures of him on Google. Like, that's how he's the man behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz. So, I don't know. To me, I'm very mesmerized by Don Landy.
Definitely, and I think that's one of the great things about these recording artists, and bands and individuals that we follow. A big part of their sound and their creativity and their fame has been the engineers and the producers and the mixers that they've worked with. The Tom Dowds, the Ted Templetons, the Mike Vernons, the George Martins. That's definitely something that our show on the British Electric Blues side of things have always tried to get information on, Kurt, the producers and their impact and involvement. And I think that's why Ted Templeton's book is so important. So, just hang out there, Brad. You might get another parcel, brother, when you finish reading Noel Monk's book, because, that's an eye-opener, not only for the information on Van Halen, but certainly on other bands and artists that we follow. But I'm with you, Kurt. I think what we need to do is, where is Don Landy? # where is Don Landy?
Yeah, have Cobra Kai make some T-shirts.
Where is the 5150 show wants to talk to Don Landy?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm mesmerized by him, and like him and Ted were glued at the hip, and him and Ed were buddies. He was a key part in building 5150 Studios. We talked a few weeks back. Eddie wrote him a blank check and said, "Don't go over this. Go to town." Where the # where's Don Landy? So I don't know. Am I the only one in the chat that is crazy about wanting to know more about Don Landy, or is that a legit thing?
Oh, it's legit. The key. It's the key, because he's the bridge between the two eras.
I think you're onto something, Kurt, and I think we're going to have to try and dig deep and find out where Don Landy is and try and get him on the show. Let's try and get everyone on the show.
Right. Don Lanny and we probably have the same personality. When we do these breakdowns on these songs, I can totally tell Brad goes into the melodic part of a song, and like I totally go to the technical part of the song, which maybe that's why this thing works for us. Right?
Yep.
Like
Absolutely.
I'm building the foundation of the house, and you're coming in and you're painting it like all kinds of colors.
I like that. That's good. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, all right, let's get him on, and you two can be like wingmen for each other because these are the same, but different.
Well, don't be surprised if I get arrested when I'm caught in a aspen tree with a pair of binoculars in Los Angeles next week. Trying to find
So, guys, thanks for joining in the chat. There's been more subscribers. It's been fantastic. Andrew, I don't know if you want to touch on that, but maybe it's a good opportunity now to touch on the subscriptions and the competition we've got.
Yeah. So in 5 weeks' time, we are going to do a live draw. We will draw a name out of the hat for a Van Halen T-shirt of your choice and your size from the Van Halen store. We'll pay for it and we'll get it shipped to you. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel. It's probably the easiest competition you'll ever join this year. Share that, and if you share the channel, you might even get some guitar picks thrown in. We're very keen to help grow the channel, and this is one of the things that has been brought to my attention, and it's a thing that we've never really done right from the word go. We've never asked for support and subscribers, but we'll always do that because we can only do that with your help, with you guys in the chat watching it. 1,000 subscribers, it will give us an opportunity to make some money to pay for the StreamYards, and that's pretty much it. And if we can do that, we'll be happy. We'll be here weekly with the British Electric Blues show. That hasn't changed. That's on Sundays. But having said that, though, it's not tomorrow. I'm doing something else tomorrow by myself. I'm doing a solo gig. Simon and Brad and I are going to be on Monday, Australia, New Zealand time. So you get tomorrow off, Brad. And then in a fortnight's time, we're back doing Women and Children First.
Who's presenting that one?
Unfortunately, me.
Unfortunately. Not a favourite?
Well, because you two are going to fight over Van Halen 1 and 2. So I've drawn the short end, the short straw.
Boss, surely you can just pick which one you want.
No. This is a democracy, brother. This is our show. But I'll do that album, and you two can fight over Van Halen 1 and 2. I'll leave that up to you guys.
Well, let's work out in succession. So if you're next, then Kurt's next, then it's me.
Yeah. So, well, you both. Yeah. Okay. That's how it goes. And I don't think Kurt will have a problem with that. But you guys will have to help me with Women and Children First, please, because it's not one of my favourite albums. So I'll need a lot of help from you guys, especially to sort of, yeah. But I'll rank the album.
We'll talk offline, and we'll get it sorted, and we'll work out who's presenting what offline, and we'll work it out.
Hey, and for some reason I can't see Bent Tom's comments, and I know that Bent has been a regular to the channel, and I don't know why I can't see Bent Tom's comments. Can you guys see them in the chat? I can't see his comments at all.
Yeah, I saw him in earlier.
Okay, all right.
I haven't
don't
been
know why.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, last week you couldn't see him either. or a couple weeks ago. I think Ben Tom has got some sort of widget robot where he's probably the reason why you got kicked offline. He's got a virus.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, so no, Jay sees them, so he's in the chat. That's interesting. I might have to try and work that out. Okay, as usual, guys, we appreciate you joining us. Sorry that we've had to have this show interrupted. We persevered. I persevered. I got back on. So if you guys want to hang out with me tomorrow, that'll be cool. Simon will be on Monday presenting. What's the Deep Purple album that we're doing?
Machine Head.
Machine Head. I knew that. Yeah. So check that out on Monday. Brad, do you want to say goodbye to everybody in the chat? I'll let you do that this week if that's cool.
Yeah, sure. Or Johnny Bean and the Johnny Bean Raid crew. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yep, Simon. Hey, Simon. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple of days for Machine Head. Warren.
Simon is slowly but surely becoming a Van Halen fan. That's my goal for the next 10 years is eventually to get him to cross over.
You can keep chipping away at that. So I don't know whether you're going to break that one, but you never know. You never know. I'm sure. Yeah, that's right. Warren, Luca, where are we? Johnny Heartbreaker. 708. That's Jay. We're Fruitcake Tony, Nelson, KXM Rock, Mike Rogers. Thank you for joining us. Robot Master Swish. Lenny Lou. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenny.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. There's a lot of comments in here, guys. I'm trying to work out who. Warren. Yeah. So just having a look. Yeah, Luca. Yeah. Alan Garber. Thank you for joining us.
Kurt brutalized.
Kurt 5150. Yeah, we're gonna have to block that Kurt 5150. I don't know, mate. There's something. There's just I don't know.
Yeah, you guys remember George McFly in Back to the Future where he's up in the tree in the peeping Tom with the binoculars? That's going to be me in Don Landy's front yard next week. I'm going to fall off the tree and get hit by a car.
Nelson, thank you, and Teresa, and have I missed anyone, guys? I'm having trouble seeing all the comments. Ellen, Mum, yep. Mike Rogers. I don't know if I've got everyone, guys, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining us in the chat. And
cool.
we really appreciate your input. And we do talk about all your input afterwards. So thank you for joining us all and giving us your rankings and your opinions and your knowledge as well, because we're all here to learn. So it's fantastic to have you guys part of it.
And shout out
stay
to
tuned too.
Cobra Kai for the shirts. Jay, I don't know if you're still in here. Check these out. Look at that.
Hold on.
Man, I don't go to the gym very much. That's hard to do, Brad.
What's that? What's Andrew?
Thumbnail. But so hang in there, guys, because after we do these albums, we're going to do a couple of the songs that were released on Van Halen Volume 1, Greatest Hits. We're going to go through and do the DVDs. So, yeah, there's a lot there to talk about. We're going to do a review on some books and also some articles that have come out. So, yeah, we're digging deep and we need your support.
Let's keep it going, guys, and keep the channel growing. We're wrapped that we're getting some subscribers through now, so keep it coming. Share the channel, and we're extremely grateful. I can, Simon included, Kurt, myself, and Andrew are extremely grateful. So keep them coming. and share the channel. Give us the love, and we'll keep giving it back the way we do. See you guys.